Hey there. Well, if you didn't catch the video title, this view right here might clue you in to the fact that we are back in Prospect Bay for the first time in a while. And man, I've been working on this region for a very long time now, well over a year. And I know I've said multiple times over quite a course of time that the end is now in sight for it. But with the new spurt of energy I'm feeling for the game, I think that I can finally say that with true certitude. A little bit more than I could. Well, I probably said in the last episode to be recorded in this region, so it's maybe dealing a bit more with motivation than anything, but hey, I hope I'm right this time. Anyway, we are going back into Lagos. Yes, the city that was afflicted with prop pox. And man, that was quite the blow, I've got to say, to my drive to continue with the game. Because with that, literally every region that I've ever played in, except for my very first region, which I abandoned pretty early on, has now been afflicted with prop pox in some city tile or other. And it's my hope that in the plugins folder that I use for this region and for Yakutat Bay, that I've been able to successfully remove the responsible file for infecting those cities. But there's a very good chance I haven't. So, you know, it's just not the most heartening thing to play the game with prop pox on your horizon, even if it's not necessarily a certain thing. But on the other hand, closure is important, and I don't know, I wouldn't feel too happy about it if I let something, even something as discouraging as prop pox, stop me from doing what I've said I wanted to do so many times and finish these regions. Anyway, we'll get into the city soon enough. It does definitely take quite a while to load these super large ones, and when we do, I have a little bit of a different routine planned from the one I normally use in developing these cities. Well, not really that different. I'm just going to leave the simulator on pause the entire time. I'm not going to let it develop at all, because from what I've read about prop pox, the affected tile, it won't necessarily, the save file won't necessarily deteriorate anymore unless you run the simulator. So I should be able to play the city without necessarily worsening the damage. Anyway, yeah, so for instance, we're going to have to be looking at these unbuilt zones right here for quite a while. But it's really no big deal. I mean, supposing this works, it is quite the save. So I think that the first thing I want to do today is to finish zoning the area to the west of the river first, because this connects maybe the most closely with the already developed area in the next city tile over, Sammamish. Well, in fact, I want the entire border to be developed at some point, and right now very little of it so a lot of our attentions in this episode, as well as future ones, are going to focus on that border from both directions. Anyway, it should be pretty easy to do something relatively simple around the riverfront, or actually, you know what, I might not even put down any more development than there is right now in this particular area. But west of the highway, I definitely am going to be getting rid of these farms. So let me try to figure out a good way to do that. Now, it's my impression that there aren't any more roads connected to the city tile border on the other side than we can see right now via the neighbor connections. So I should pretty much have free reign to build my own roads right up to the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Leaving, I don't have to leave more than 50 feet between the edge of the street and the highway. In real life there would be a chain link fence or something there. I don't really have any lots of that variety installed right now, but it's no big deal. So I might have a small gridded area right here, just by the city tile board, because that's easy to make look nice on the other side. At least in the context of the region view. So yeah, I'm already screwing up here. It's not going to work evenly with 4-tile gap between the blocks, it looks like. So I guess I'll try something else after all. I do like the idea of having relatively straight roads around here. Let me see how much space I have. It's going to be tough to tell with the farm still in place, of course. So 7 on that side, and 6 on this, or no, that's just 5. So this might be a center tile right here. Yeah, sure enough. So I think I'll just split this area right down the middle. And might as well continue the street a little ways. Honestly, why not? All the way up till there. I don't see anybody complaining overly much. Now for the other streets in this area, I'm going to follow a slightly more double wave pattern, reflecting the probability. Well, I imagine that if Lagos is a US city, which it more or less is, would have been developed, or this particular neighborhood would have been developed around the late 20s or 30s. So that sort of street pattern is a conspicuous feature of that era. Well, not really the most. I'm mixing up my terminology here. But it is the era when dendritic street patterns began to first gain popularity in city planning circles. Although not nearly on the scale of the popularity they of course gained in subsequent decades. Alright. So, yeah. I guess it's pretty repetitive stuff, zoning these vast areas, but it's definitely, I don't know, I guess it has the potential to be interesting in a hypnotic sort of way. I generally won't skip past a lot of these, well, I don't know. I do fast forward a lot when I watch videos on YouTube, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll watch even the most boring stuff all the way through, probably doing something else at the same time. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really on top of my commentary game today, I guess. But I'm just here to enjoy the game and try to get some progress done and try to get some material out of what's been going on. Anyway, I think that this particular subdivision turned out pretty well, and for now I'm just zoning everything as residential. It's just an idea I had that it might make sense to do it this way and then put in the other types of building later, as opposed to worrying about everything at once. Because that can really be a drag on the time spent in this game when you're just always quite a bit of lag right here. But yeah, what I was saying, it can just be a bit of a drag on your time if you're trying to decide what exactly should go into every space before you move on to the next one, because that entails an entirely different kind of thinking in a way from designing the infrastructure networks around them. And yeah, that's more or less it. Might as well build some roads that follow older paths through this area as well, even if those were really undeveloped areas. And I think I can extend this one a little ways. It's not going to go all the way to the city tower border though. So, as far as this particular area, I'm tempted to extend this street right here, but on the other hand, I think it would likely create quite a few traffic problems given the general design of the networks around here. I don't know though, there may be some merit to this sort of design, so I think I'll give it a go really quick. And I'm definitely going to want to curve it out of the way a bit to try to discourage through traffic from using this route as much as possible. Again with the lag, I wonder if that has any... Oh yeah, sure enough. I never updated this rail line to the RRW. It's pretty easily done though. It looks like it's already been done up there. Excellent. So yeah, I'm a little worried that it might look a bit silly with how these connect right there. Is it even? Yeah, it looks like this is just the minimum distance required for that to work. I'm going to want another street that extends out to provide access to this area. Yeah, I think this will work. Maybe just another cul-de-sac though. Yeah, that'll do. So now I want to think about adding some sort of green space. Now, it was my impression that I was already intending to have something of a large park going in this area, but I don't think I want it to extend entirely to the... I don't know, I want it to be big, but I've still got to think about how big. But regardless, I think this area is going to need its own green space too. In fact, there's really not much in the way of green space for the entire area to the south of this avenue along river. So I might do to have something a little bit more centrally located. Maybe around here would make sense. It's kind of an irregularly shaped plot of land, but I think it'll work. So first off, it's gonna definitely be necessary to flatten most of this. And I'll just use something slope conforming without too many props for those necessarily uneven tiles. Alright, so that should be all of it. Now, I know I've been unambitious with my parks lately, so I'll try to do a bit better. I'm just going to use the BSC parks right now, but I'll try to, you know, try not to make it too bad. And I'm definitely going to want a bus stop right there, so I'm not going to put a park there. Okay. Always takes a bit to get down to these because they're so far down the menu. It just comes with the territory, I guess. There we go. So, maybe I'll have a cross piece right there. Actually, that's not really appropriate given the base texture of the bus stop to be. So maybe a couple T's would be better. Yeah, like that. And then, that should be enough, really. Or, I could use a cross after all, now that I think about it. Something like that. Then use the bench pieces. Oh, I want this to face the other way, though. Excellent. So then, looks like there's the opportunity for a couple of these pieces, and I'll fill in the rest with the tree lined one by one. Excellent. Now for the remainder of this area, I think since I'm already down here, I'll use some of their silly looking parking lots. And yeah, the exits from those lots aren't really perfect for what I'm planning to do, but it'll be fine. Now, let me remember quickly what the largest areas we have at our disposal are. So it's a 3x3. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to want to have more than just plain grass areas here. I think the flower gardens are a pretty safe choice. Maybe I'll line this entire area of the park with them. Actually, you know what might look cool that I don't think I've ever done before would be to alternate their direction. That would also make it look like passage is a little more easy through them by getting rid of that wall of planters. So yeah, I think this looks really cool actually. Might have to do it again in the future. Okay, so that's enough for that. Now I think the rest I can safely fill in with some open space. Excellent. And these ones down here as well. I could have used a 2x2 there, but, well, no harm done, I guess. And get the remainder in, and perfect. Alright, so I think that definitely adds to the neighborhood. Definitely want to keep that space open for the bus stop though. In fact, I might as well put down some of these bus stops while I'm thinking about it. And already my thinking about just building roads and residential zones to start has been deprecated, I guess. It's no big loss though. I think it's probably more efficient this way in the end. So yeah, there's a conspicuous absence of bus stops on the main road here. Definitely going to want to change that a little bit. So there's really not much to lose by adding them. Yeah, this neighborhood too, same problem. So at least there is one in the center. And, well, I guess the coverage isn't that bad, now that I look at it again. It can just be a bit hard to spot the bus stops. Alright. Now, I think I do want to do the zoning in this area before I move on. So yeah, I'm not going to worry about other building types like before. And there's going to be no hint that this area was formerly farm fields. Alright. So far so good. Making quick progress here. Actually, you know what? There aren't going to be any buildings fronting the road on this side. I think that the traffic arrangement there is already complicated enough without people pulling in and out all the time. Alright, getting a few one-by-one zones in here and there. That shouldn't be a problem. Now, let's make sure that there are no more bus stops needed around this area. Okay, well, there are already a couple in this area. Now over here, where I built that bus stop, that looks like a pretty poor choice of space. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it again. Not really sure what I was thinking there. But I might put another one to match this one just across the street. And that will also provide some pedestrian access. Or actually, I don't know about that. There's already a bus stop right there. I think it might be better served if I put one around here in the interior of the neighborhood. And really that should be all that's necessary there. Although I think I will try to get a couple more in just because I can. Yeah. So that should be good for that. And these homes will all be sort of isolated from the bus stop system, but, well, they can take a hike, I guess. Okay, so I think I'm going to want to take a bit of a zoom out before I decide what to do with this area. So I'm going to take a quick break to make a save before I risk that. Okay, so I took a look at things and I think I've decided how large I want the Parker Nature Reserve in this area to be. Now, before I get along to building that though, I am going to want to reconfigure the road system in this area a little bit. Now, I've always felt a bit funny, and my graphics are really acting up right now. I've always found it a little bit funny how this road, which starts way down over here in the port, kind of curves around and makes a huge question mark shaped curve right there, and then goes down here, and then suddenly makes a, it's all following generally the same course, but then suddenly it makes a 90-degree curve, and it turns into this major boulevard, which then turns into the main thoroughfare through downtown. I don't know, I do like the idea of having a sort of single continuous ring road in the inner circle of residential communities, but turning into the main thoroughfare through downtown, that just seems like kind of a lot to me. So I am definitely going to take this opportunity to reroute it a little bit, and it's actually going to continue in the same direction as its original course, and probably merge together with a new road in Sammamish. And then this route, which of course connects to downtown, I'm gonna rethink how it works a little bit. You know what, I may not have thought this out completely in the first place. Let me meet you back in a minute. Alright, so I know what I'm doing. We are going to be moving several roads over and also doing a road widening. So I am thinking that this road is going to have to change course before this point. Yes. This looks like a good point for it. Now, this road is the one that's going to be widened, of course. And in order to do that, of course, this rail underpass is going to have to move. And it's kind of nice to be able to get rid of that, whatchamacallit, oh yeah, that transition piece right there, because it was really wreaking havoc to a certain extent with the road grid system in this area. And also it was making it impossible to build a TLA5 through this area, which I think is really what would make the most sense here, given the high frequency of uncontrolled intersections. So I'm going to go ahead and do that before anything else, actually, because that's a relatively easy task. Well, I'm still going to have to transition to avenue around here to get the underpass to work, of course. Here, let me rotate again. The bus stop's going to have to go, of course. So I'm going to have that. But I should be able to... Well, it's been a while, obviously, since I've used any NWM networks. But I think that the TLA5 transition should work without extending the avenue any further. So let me find the starters really quick. And I'm going to have one over here, one between these intersections, and that's about it. So, you know what, I'm just going to try to merge the TLA5 into the tulips organically. That looks a lot better anyway. So I think it's definitely the way to go here. There should be plenty of space. extend that avenue one more tile after all. I always forget I have to do that whenever I'm building these things. Alright, so let's get those tulips in. So that would be one over here, one over here. I'm going to need a new one of these pieces right here as well. Perfect. Now let's get the type A1 pieces in. Alright. That's looking standard. So now let's take care of, well, actually before anything, let me see how far this avenue is going to extend out for. Okay, so the first intersection is going to be there, so I think there's nothing to worry about building the rail underpass right now. So let's get the ramp in there first. And let's go to the FLUPs, which are up here. Get the straight route under avenue, and perfect. So yeah, those overpasses are always pretty easy to build. And I don't think I'm going to bother moving the transition piece for STR. I don't think it's too important. So yeah, we're going to keep this FAR curve over here. That should be no problem. And then I guess it would make sense to have this road just continue straight on down to the city tile border, but you know what, I'm not gonna decide on that right now. I'm gonna take a minute. But I do think I'm gonna want it straight until the intersection with this road here, which in turn, yes. Okay. So now I have to decide how to end this 4-lane area, into a smooth transition somehow. I sort of forget what exactly is at my disposal as far as avenue corner intersections. I know that there are some types. Okay, so I could make it possible for people to make U-turns in order to be able to use this as a full intersection, but I don't think that would be a very good idea, so I'm not going to use that. Okay. In fact, what I think I'm going to do is change the routing of this road a little bit and do something a little bit crazy, you could say. Okay, so for that I'm going to need to definitely use some smooth curves, and in fact I might even want to extend this. No, I've already decided on this routing for the road. I think I'm going to stick with that. Alright, so let's get the normal smooth curves, the avenue flex curve, and I'm going to want at least, I only really need 2 open spaces for tulips with the system I use in this region, so that's nice. Now, if I do end up building my roads this way, it's going to make it pretty tough to connect any intersections, or, well, to even fit in this transition piece. Yeah, you know what? Transition is going to have to be a little sooner than that, unfortunately. I really do think that this avenue should continue with 4 lanes at least through this intersection. Any more than that, and I think there could definitely be some traffic problems. So maybe I'll try to have the lane transition directly after that, and make it as close as I can. where's the width transitions? Alright. So I'll have it with everything pointed this way. And oh man, I always forget. Need to transition again to have to. So there's going to be no way to get rid of this starter piece, I have a feeling. But I am going to try to get a... maybe use some of these ploppable smooth curves, or... I don't know about this. I think the best idea, honestly, maybe just to widen the north-south road a little bit. Yeah, this is starting to strike me as a much more functional idea. Okay, I'm gonna do this. So, oh, alright. I'm gonna need to give the transition a little bit more space. This way, though, than I would have if it was a smaller intersection. Okay, here we are. So I'm going to want 3 full tiles, which really isn't that much for this kind of thing when you think about it. And then this, if it continues straight on, I'm going to want the same to the south. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Alright, looks good. Now, for the road to have 2 transition. That's going to need to go. That'll work, right? No, wrong direction. Of course it would be. Did rebuild that stub though, that's a nice effect. Oh, looks like I have to redo that transition all over. Damn it. Okay. Perfect. So, click on the piece once more. And, do I really have to put it that far away? You know, I bet there would be a way to not do that, but right now, I'm feeling like it's not too important. So I think I have the boundary for my park pretty much established. It will be along this 4-lane road here. And further south will be entirely devoted to residential development. And I might as well just continue this road on to the city tile. Well, actually I'm going to take a quick cut and see what things look like on the other side of the city tile border for sure before I make any final decisions. Alright, so I think I know what I'm doing here. Now, first off I want to see exactly how many tiles I have after transitioning this back to road 2. Really what I can do is quite open right now, because on the other side of the city tile border there's a single undivided large farm plot that I'm going to have to get rid of at some point anyway, so there's plenty of room for road curves. Of course, in the meantime, it would really be most convenient if, well, you know what, I kind of gave the transition there too much room now that I look at it, considering it is just a road 2 intersection. So I'm going to rebuild that a little bit closer, and that should save some space. Okay, so just one more tile south of that. And let's see if we can fit the transition with the starter piece on top of the... Okay, yeah, it actually does work. So that's pretty good. And I have 14 tiles, so I think, honestly, I might just take this the easy way and just do a quick fractional angle curve over to the edge of the map. And it looks like I have just enough room to complete that curve. That is excellent. Whoops. Well, I did screw up right there. Alright. Got it now. Yeah, that looks nice and smooth. So now, it should be a rather easy matter to figure out the streets for the rest of this neighborhood. First, I should decide whether I want this street to connect to the main road. It did before, so that on its own seems like a pretty good argument in favor of that. Might have to have a relatively sharp curve right here though, but well, hopefully people are fine with that and they can deal. I'll actually move that up a bit. Yeah, that'll have to do. Okay, or you know what, I might as well move it up, do it a little bit differently, and move it up. Yeah, I think that this looks pretty cool. It is adding more curves, which does look a bit sloppier, but it also kind of mirrors the course of the railway S-curve this way, which I don't think is all bad. There's quite a bit of parallelism there. Okay, so as far as what I'm going to want to do with this space, well, you guys already know about the park on the west, but over here, I think I'll try to continue in the same vein. Probably have a few commercial buildings along the main avenue here. And yes, I will go back to the other areas I just built eventually, to add some commercial buildings there too. You know what though, I did end up getting rid of some bus stops in the course of this, so I'm gonna have to rebuild a few of those. I'm gonna have to scroll down to them again first though. Alright, yeah, one facing right there, one right there. And do I already have one around here anywhere? Maybe I could use one right there. Alright. And I'm going to want one here and one there. And yeah, that's it for now, but I'm definitely going to want one or two more in these surrounding areas. So honestly, I don't really think I need any more roads beyond what's already built over here. So I think I'll just go with the flow in that regard. Now over here, maybe an industrial building wouldn't look too out of place on that avenue. But then as you get over here, I definitely want to get that commercial in somehow. Okay. Yeah, that median definitely looks a lot better than the industrial one. And I'll have a nice 3x3 parking lot there too, because it suits that kind of development well. So south of all this, I think that we should have a nice side road for the houses in this area. maybe only continuing up until about here. I think that makes some sense. Yeah, that'll work. And maybe there can be another connection to it over there, just after that intersection, since there won't need to be turn lanes on that tile. Okay. And as for how to fill in the rest of this area, I don't know. Maybe just a semicircular road such as this would make some sense. These two intersections are pretty close together, so I'm sure there will be a little bit of congestion there, but I don't know. I think it'll be able to manage, honestly. There's going to be quite a bit of congestion in this area no matter what I do, because it's the corner of two city tiles and it doesn't have any particularly high capacity road networks. So I'm definitely going to want to limit the number of intersections on this particular road, as well as not build any more than I currently have on this one. You know what, I might get rid of this one too. It just strikes me as a better idea than the alternative. So that'll end up in a cul-de-sac, I guess. Yeah, traffic should flow a lot smoother with that thing gotten rid of. And that'll make this a full intersection, I guess. Or, you know what, maybe not. Maybe this one would make more sense as the full intersection there. And then one to connect this quadrant to that road as well. And it'll make, well, there's not going to be anything on that side, so that isn't going to be a full intersection. But what I was thinking I might do with this area is do a little bit of a circular road in the center. And going this approach is definitely a little bit of a cop-out when it comes to organizing a cohesive region-based road network. But on the other hand, these roads, I think they still look pretty cool in the region view. So I'm just going to go for it, and however it turns out, I'll like it. Okay, so I might as well have the street get a little close to that road there. I think I won't have any buildings zoned along its west side until at least south of this intersection. So yeah, that doesn't seem like the worst route to go as far as minimizing traffic, because of it's just a good way to make sure that there are no driveways built there. And yeah, this road isn't really turning out to be circular at all. Part of it is, but quite a bit of it is not. Okay, so how is this area going to get filled in? Maybe there could be a little, another diagonal road right there. Yeah, I think that should work more or less well. Maybe that could continue to the southwest as well. I don't think that'll look too bad. It's not really the most convenient road layout per se, but it does work. Then another road there just to split up the big shape. And I might as well make a big diagonal cross intersection while I'm at it. Of course, these are going to need to be demolished. I'm going to extend the diagonals to meet each other. So I think that's doable. Yeah, perfectly doable. Okay. Yeah, so I think that that's it for the road network in this area. Now let's get some of these residential zones in place, because this is a suburban area. And yeah, that's about as close as I can get them to... Whoops. I'm going to need to demolish some of this road to get the zones placed in the way I want them. So... Okay. Did I do something wrong here? Yes. So I don't want a zone right there. Alright. Let's make sure this is all working right. Yeah, it looks like I got it. Excellent. So no roads facing the main road there. That's good. There will be some room for trees along its side, which I'm sure will be appreciated. Now let's zone in the rest of this interior area. Yeah, it seems like no big problems so far. Okay. So just as I thought, I am running into some areas that are unzonable, but in a way that's an advantage for the residents who buy parcels here. So yeah, I'm not taking too much care with zoning here, just kind of letting things, just following a few principles and letting things fall as they may. But no way I would accept that. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing right there. I do want to have zones along this particular main thoroughfare north of the intersection, so I don't want to waste that space too quickly. And we can have more zones such as that. And I think I only want residential zones and commercial zones facing the park as opposed to industrial zones. So I might try to make some space for a couple of those. Maybe down here. I think a 3x4 might look good. And then something along the city tile border too. Together with a 2x3. Yeah, I think that'll work. And otherwise that'll be a residential area. And let me try to figure out if I need more commercial zones around here. You know what, this does seem like a pretty good area to have a cluster of them right here. So I think I will go ahead and do that. Maybe a few like this. Yes. And I have room for another parking lot right there too, which is good. And it'll be facing the wrong direction, but I don't know, with transition piece right there, well, it is worth doing right. It might be a little bit tricky and I might crash, but, you know, such is the nature of SimCity 4. So I'm going to get rid of some of these trees because they are definitely blocking my view. Okay, yeah, I was able to do that without incident. Excellent. Now I have to fill in the rest of those zones. Like this, should be pretty good. And like so. In fact, this seems like a good spot for another commercial building. Yes, definitely keep that. And what else, what else? Oh yeah, this corner over here. So let's put the zones facing the main road first. And I screwed up those sizes right there. Alright, I think this will work. Now, I really could use another bus stop around this part of the city. So I think I'll get a couple of those into place. And yeah, maybe also over here I could use one or two. So I'm going to go ahead and put those down. One right there, how about? Already have them over there. Maybe one right over here, and one down, whoop, one down here. Alright, perfect. So now that all that really needs my attention before the entire western side of the river is finished is this park. So I'm going to want a really nice and big parking lot for people to enter it from. And it'll be right over here at this intersection. In fact, you know what, now that the road network around here is finished, let's get the tulips out of the way. So I'm going to need the type A2 right there, A1 over here, another A1 here, whoop, actually it'll be up here. And I put those in the wrong place too, didn't I? Okay, so I'm going to want the type A transitions first. One there, and one there. And let me get the rest of the tulips. Whoop, be really careful with this one. Okay, got it. Well, no, wrong one. Uh-oh. Alright. Got it for real this time. Now for the intersection. Yes. And let's get this intersection done too. Got it. And you know what? I think I'll do this in the way I like, even though I don't typically do that in this region. And use these pieces for the transition. Whoops. Yes, like that. As you can see. Just makes it a bit smoother to get into your turn lane if you're not turning left. Okay. So that should be more or less what's needed as far as tulips. Yeah, it doesn't look like I missed any other intersections. So now let's scroll down to the BSC parks and start building some trails. Yeah, this is going to be pretty cool, I think. Maybe have a central gathering area of sorts, and then it will branch out into the hiking trails. What does this one look like again? Yeah, it's not too good as far as the connections. Okay, so where was that one I was thinking about? Right there. So we could get that in place like that. Maybe 3 of them on either side. Might be a bit excessive, but might be pretty cool too. Yeah, I think it'll work. And then, we are gonna have to have, what directions of the bench? Okay, that's perfect. That's how I want the benches to face. No, I don't want to use the straight pieces. What am I thinking? I want a bunch of T-ends. Then I'm going to want a couple cross pieces for the end of this area here. And then those are going to wiggle off into a big extended loop. And, whoops, that's wrong. On either side, the loop is going to squiggle around quite a bit. So let's get started with that. Yeah, so I think that this is not the worst route to follow. Whoops. Which way does the arrow face again? Do I have to go all the way back over here? Oh yeah, it's to the right of where the main arrow faces. So I was thinking what I might do over here is have it go in quite a bit, then back out, and then it'll go relatively close to the road and the freeway exit here before turning again. Go out again over here before coming back in right at the city tile border I was about. And then that will continue straight for quite a distance before going south yet once more. And there will be a couple curves right here. Yes. So maybe in even more over here before it comes back out, say right there, and around here. Maybe curving out to right over there, right there, and then maybe follow a diagonal for a few tiles. Nothing else like that around here. Before it goes out the whole way there, back in, out again, and yeah, this is, I don't know about having another diagonal right there actually. Yeah, more like that might be better. Then it'll get away from the road. And then curve around, up around here. Oops, wrong direction. And then follow a relatively simple path, I think, back to the start. Well, maybe not that simple. Yeah, we'll have something a little like that. Okay, so now I'm going to try to build this park, or build the straight parts of these trails. So, okay, looks like I have room for that right there, and another one right there. Nothing going there though. Can get one there though. And looks like it's also in the cards there. Okay, you know what? Maybe, let me get rid of some of these trees over here. Yeah, what's going on? Looks like I might be missing one of these corners, which would be pretty easy to replace, I think, if it happens to be true. Oh no, I just wasn't detecting it because it was so far away. So, let me get the other part of that path built in. And yep, looks like there's no room for this here or there or there. Can get a couple right here though, and down here. Yeah, it follows the city tile border for a minute, huh? Alright. Okay, it goes south immediately. Well, I can definitely build that. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that must curve. Is that inward or outward? Inward. Okay, and then it goes south again, I guess. And I can definitely fit a segment right there. Whoops. And one right there. And one down there. One right there. One right there. One right there. And we are almost done here. That makes me happy. Okay. Just a couple more curves to go. And we got it. Okay, so now just to build the straight pieces. Should be pretty easy, right? What with the paths so much more clearly marked out now. Alright. Almost there. And just I don't think I've missed any so far. Okay. Yeah, next one goes over there, there. And the last one. Boom. Oh man, that feels good. Now all I have to do before I can call it a day, is replace some trees. But you know what? It's been an awfully long time that I've been recording this. I think I might just call it quits here and do that next time. Well, actually I really do want to make sure that the sidewalks are fully built out on this road, so I will do that before I leave. Okay, man, that makes a big improvement, doesn't it? I think so, at least. Yeah, anyway, so that's about that. Next time, I will get around finishing this park, probably just by planting trees all through it. I don't know, there might be some opportunity to do a little something with MMPs here, though. So, yeah, I'll definitely keep that in the cards. Maybe a small lake somewhere around here, or maybe in the center. Yeah, I could see that. Maybe even a couple lakes, so... Well... you know what? I don't know what I have to gain by putting it off. I'll just do it in a minute here after I take a quick break. Well, I'm getting the sense that some serious time has already passed with this video, but I'm going to go ahead and forge ahead with building out these lakes with MMPs. So I'm going to definitely want, I think 3 of them would look best, to be honest. And none of them are going to be too large. Well, actually, I might as well have 4 while I'm at it, because why not? Why not? So, yeah, let me actually clear out just a few more trees around where I'm going to want these, just to make my area a little bit easier to work with visually. Is there... I might make it 3 lakes after all and have one with a bit of a different orientation around here. Yeah, you know what? That seems like a really good idea. So let's try to build these fast, but without sparing on the details. Okay. So, using the peg pond system, of course, and yeah, it's going to be 4 lakes because I want to have a small one here as well. Okay, perfect. That'll be 1 right there. 1 over here. And it can even be larger than that, honestly. Let me just get rid of some trees to make room for it. Because fuck trees, I'm no tree hugger. Okay. Perfect. So this one is a bit differently shaped, but I don't think it should be a problem in any shape, form, or way for that matter. Okay, perfect. So now let's fill in some of those bumpy edges with the quarter tile stuff. Should be pretty quick to do, right? And MMPs do have the potential to take a really, really long time, but I think that what I'm intending to do here should be pretty efficient. And I think I'm going to try to keep the forest floor relatively clear of weeds and rocks, and well, I'm going to have some rocks now that I think about it. So that's one more thing I'll have to do before I can stop recording. Man. There's actually quite a bit, huh? Yeah, that looks even enough already. This one, though, could definitely use some work. So, alright, we're about halfway through already. And coming in the home stretch. Alright, I'm actually gonna redo this little area here because there's no way the shoreline plops would have fit. Speaking of those shoreline plops, I believe they must be below here, right? Right. And I never did get rid of these duplicate entries in my menu, did I? That is quite a shame. So I think sand might look a little better than gravel for this park. Because, I don't know, I just want a bit of a smoother, you know, more friendly feeling. Sort of screwed up with a little bit of that shoreline plop there, but I think it doesn't look so bad this way. You know, nature adds a bit of randomness too, just like that. Okay, looks like I got that. Then here's the other big lake that'll take a minute to surround. And it looks like there's a tree so close I can't get a spot there, but you can't really see it with a normal camera orientation, so I don't know if I will replace that unless it really catches my eye another time. And I'm getting a bit of lag now, so I should probably hold up until it passes. Yeah, my FPS is down to 1 or 2, which is no good for using this thing. As you can see, it turns my line all squiggly, since my hands do have a tendency to shake a bit, especially as they're moving in a straight line with the mouse. And yeah, my FPS is still down, but I don't know, that was, yeah, as you can see, that line didn't come out so good either. But it seems to have recovered. Yeah, I wonder what that's about. Okay, easy to get rid of that tree without having to replace any water. And I have the same problem down here. It looks to be so. That's unfortunate. But again, it seems like I can just sort of get by it. Okay, now let's build one past here. And we got it. Now this is going to be a tight fit, but it looks like I can go right through that corner. Excellent. Hopefully this one is the same story, and yes. Alright, so only one lake left to go, and this one I can already see a bit of a trouble spot. Yeah, I'm gonna have to replace some water after all, huh? Okay. Well, I should have been a bit more careful with the trees in the first place before I plopped the water. Or as I was plopping it, rather. But I can do this. Okay, easy enough. It's just a bunch of menu scrolling that I could have avoided. So let's get the sand in as fast as I can. And yep, looking good, looking good. Alright, perfect. So now I'm going to try to just sprinkle a few other MMP props around this area before I get around to planting some trees through the majority of it. So gray rocks maybe? Yeah, I don't think I'll need too much besides those. And then I'll also want flowers, I bet. Let's try to put them where people can actually see the rocks, and yeah, maybe they'll be considered visually interesting and ornamental. But, yeah, who even knows with this stuff, right? Yeah, that should be enough. Now some flowers. Alright, where? Oh no, not the lag again. Man, that seems like 2 spikes in short succession. Oh, it's already gone though. That was quick. Good. Wait. So, no flowers around here? Where were they again? Okay, they are all up here, I guess. Maybe let's start out with some pink wildflowers for a change. Just try to get an even distribution all over the place, and not right there. We don't want to overgrow the sidewalk at any cost. Yeah, right there looks pretty bad too, honestly. Oh no, now I have to do the shore plop again. Oh well, at least I was close to it. And it didn't even get rid of that. Oh no. Well, I guess I can just replop that without too much effort. So where were those flowers again? Oh yeah. So let's place them a little more carefully. Alright, flat. I don't know why I just said flat line. That's not really a good positive affirmation. I just have the new Flying Lotus album on my mind, I guess. That's probably it. Came out last month. Okay. So that seems like plenty of that type of flower. Now I'm going to want some yellow wildflowers and then a few of the daisies, but not too many of those. Okay, just looking for the remaining empty areas, really. Try to get some sprinkled in here too. Is that possible? Yes. Excellent. We're growing a bit too much on top of the sand right there, but it's no big deal. And getting very close to the paths again. That might be a problem, but not so far. So I'm going to need to get rid of these. That's unfortunate because I had to get rid of some rocks, but maybe that wasn't the best place for the rocks, honestly. There's kind of too many of them right by the roadside and nowhere else. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. Now let's get some of the daisies in. And just mix these liberally. Everybody loves flowers, right? Flowers. Alright. More over here. Oh no. That is right on top of the lake right there. Yeah, So I'm going to need to go down to the sand shore plops again. And place this one last bit, but after that I think I'm done with MMPs for here. Which means I'm almost done with this video. After quite a while, I don't know how much time it's been, but I can tell it's been quite a bit. Okay, yeah, perfect, got the tool selected. So now I want to be a little careful not to grow the trees in the middle of the water, but they should be relatively, tending not to do that anyway, which is good. Okay. Beautiful. And try not to grow them on the parking lot either, that would be good. Man, I wish I could screenshot this park and share it, but it would look kind of weird with all of these undeveloped zones alongside it, wouldn't it? So I'm definitely going to have to hold off on that until Legos is finished. Probably do a really big round of screenshotting around then. Get quite a few things. But geez, I really wish that, I don't know. Okay, so not too much empty space around here to fill in with the trees, which is, it's nice and convenient, I guess. It means it will preserve the urban feel of Lagos as well in this neighborhood, which something, obviously a forest wouldn't do so much. Hopefully some of those are on the right tile, or at least a few. This really isn't the best tree controller for getting pure coverage, to be honest. Okay, so also going to want trees over here, and with that, I think it does it. That is the western side of Legos finished. So let me zoom out. We'll take a quick look of the area that was covered today. And really, I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought I might have covered a larger area with all this time, but oh well, it's really not bad progress. It's all good. It's all definitely counting toward the end goal. And yeah, the remaining undeveloped section of the city seems a lot less intimidating now that it's all isolated to one district. And I would say that's definitely true in a big way. So that's it for now. I don't know if I'll be recording another Prospect Bay episode again anytime soon, but hopefully I'll be able to. In any case, I'll catch you then.